he could not continue to live on under the name Jesus Christ or Ben-Pandera, because the verdict of death penalty still was guilty and ever could be resumed with the right culprit if the authorities would have experienced that they have executed the wrong delinquent. And so he lived under several pseudonyms. One of the pseudonyms is Saul or Paul, but it was not the only one. In the beginning I spoke about the finding of Christian scriptures, suppressed Christian scriptures in Nag Hammadi, Egypt. And there we found also a secret or suppressed scripture in which it's called the Acts of the 12 Apostles, in which they report a visit to the secretly living Ben-Pandera or Jesus Christ on an isle presumed in the Mediterranean Sea. There he lived under the pseudonym of the Thorgal and as seller of pearls. This is a Christian scripture. It is not written from an antichrist or Christian rival. And the difference between the so-called Jesus Christ and the difference of Saul Paul is the one that is the one of the necessities that came in the wake of the crucifixion. Now, the main purpose of Christianity to survive was to count the shame and disgrace of death penalty as a very moral excellence. And Ben-Pandera was so clever, in contrast with his accomplices, he was so clever to realize that what he preached before Calvary refutes that what was preached after Calvary. That means to count the shame and disgrace of a death penalty as vicarious atonement, vicarious suffering for the whole world. What does vicarious suffering or vicarious atonement mean? It means that God is that infuriated about the evil-doing, wrongdoings, misdemeanor and sins of the humans, that at least one has to bite the dust. But before, and therefore somebody has to bite the dust, and therefore purportedly Jesus Christ died on the cross, and we have to believe in him in order to participate in this so-called salvation. But but what he preached before, in particular in his Sermon on the Mountain, refutes those vicarious sufferings and vicarious atonement. For instance, when he met with the devil in the desert, experiencing that he is a devil of his own idea, the devil does not only says it, the devil quotes the Old Testament, the Bible, that God saved the Son of God, of the Messiah, that much that he even does not suffer a dash against a stone. And Ben-Pandera does not contradict Satan in that situation. And there is still another very, very Christian hype. The Christians do not see that they refute their own hardcore of vicarious atonement and vicarious suffering. in the Sermon on the Mountain, he says, be like God, like your Father in heaven, who is gracious to everybody, who lets his sun shine above the evil and above the good, and lets rain above the evil and above the good. That means that God does not care about the evilness and the depravity of the humans, as humans does not care about the wars among the ants. However, the Christians are there very conceited about the Sermon on the Mountain and about the love of the enemy, that they did not notice that it confutes the hardcore of vicarious atonement, vicarious suffering, salvation, etc. I remember when I was a young child, I once in a Christian church, and a preacher man was there telling to his sheep that Christianity is superior to each other religion because it is the only one religion even teaching to love one's enemy. Yes. But it is not only the only one religion that teaches to love one's enemy, it is the only one religion refuting its own hard core of tenets, vicarious atonement and vicarious suffering. So folks, if you are curious about the book, please acquire it at Publish America in the online shop of the company. It is a matter of course that I cannot explain 538 pages only in a few minutes. I promise you, if you read the book each time again, and if you read it the 10th time, you will discover new things you did not do before. I hope you will stop reading if you start reading.